Hey there guys, this is Sam.
Hey Justin.
At Survival Review, and today we're going to be talking about Christopher Nolan's newest film, Dunkirk.
Yep.
So where do you want to start with this one?
Let's just start with our general opinion on it.
Okay.
I like it a lot.
He liked it a lot. I didn't hate it, but I have issues with it.
Yeah, I have issues with the movie too. It's not perfect by any means, but I still thought it was a really solid and really entertaining movie.
Yeah, I think for the most part, all the action sequences, all the acting, all that stuff is great.
Yeah, on a technical level, the movie is like a masterpiece. With all the stunts and everything, this movie feels so real.
Yeah, it feels like, wow, that's... Yeah. It punches hard.
Yeah, on a technical level, the movie is incredible. Yeah. But there's a few little issues here and there that kind of bring it down.
Yes.
So without really getting into the plot, the movie takes place in Dunkirk, and there's all these English soldiers there trying to get off of the shore, basically.
And they're pretty much surrounded by German troops. It's a true story, obviously.
Yeah, well, the setting is true. It's like kind of like the Titanic thing where it's...
Yeah.
The setting is real, but the characters aren't.
Yes. Which, and that kind of brings you into the characters themselves. Yeah. Which is where a lot of my issues lie.
Yeah, because the thing about this movie is there's really no character development.
Not at all.
And in a way, that's kind of the idea of the film, because you're just kind of thrown into this battle. You're just kind of thrown in the middle of this thing, and you're following these characters throughout this entire battle.
Which I would be fine with if they didn't also try to fit in character drama moments.
Yeah, there's 3 separate stories going on that end up converging in the movie. Mm-hmm. You have this soldier on the ground in Dunkirk trying to get away, basically, and he runs into this other guy, soldier, who they're kind of working together to get off the place, to get out of there. Mm-hmm. And then you have this father and his 2 kids who the Navy's coming to take their boat just to go there to pick up soldiers, and they want to just do it themselves, so they just leave and they go to Dunkirk to pick up fallen soldiers. And then you have the Air Force, the pilots, who are basically just trying to shoot off all the German pilots.
Tom Hardy, he's good.
Yeah. So those are the 3 stories that end up converging at some points in the movie.
Yes. Now,
for me, the lack of character development for kind of the main story, the main soldier on the ground, I thought was fine. I didn't mind any of that.
I don't know. I find it a lot harder to connect to the character, both him and Tom Hardy and just the characters in general, when there's no character development, because there's really none.
See, for me, the soldier on the ground one, I like him in the fact that because you can kind of you understand the situation that just you're stuck in this battle and you really can't get out. Like half of his stuff is just him circling around and ending up back on shore. Yeah. Basically, you think he gets away, you think it's all good, something happens, he ends up back on shore, and I like that because you can almost feel like you're in that situation. So I liked all the stuff with him. I thought that worked fine. But the other characters, the other storylines, needed more development, definitely.
Especially on the ship with the father and the 2 sons.
Because I don't exactly know why would he want to go out there and do it himself. Why not just have the Navy go do it?
Yeah, and then when some stuff happens with these characters, something happens to one of them, it's hard for me to really care that much. Yeah. And that's when they really try to have like a moment where it's like, oh my God, this terrible thing has happened. And I'm just like... why should I care? Yeah. I get that they were trying to do a good thing, but I don't know these people.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what's their motivation for going there. I guess they just want to do good and help out, but it's like, I need a bit more than that.
Yeah, that's one of the bigger things that I just had an issue with.
And then another problem with the movie, the 3 separate storylines take place in separate times.
And this is my biggest issue.
Yeah, the main scene with the soldier takes place over a week. The scene with the family on the boat takes place over a day, and then the Air Force one with Tom Hardy takes place over an hour. Yes. And they do kind of tell us that in the beginning of the movie. They have the brief little title cards, but they don't emphasize it too much until later on, like halfway through the movie.
So the whole way through the movie, really, you're seeing these different events taking place at different times, and they're cutting in between each other. And they're giving you no frame of reference as to when they're changing, what time this is. I mean, you could tell based on the character that's being focused on, but and it never gets to the point where it's so convoluted and so confusing that it's impossible to follow. But it's more frustrating.
Yeah, a bit more jarring every time.
Yeah, you really especially when you're in scenes where it's cutting from day to night to this is happening.
Well,
then
to me, the day to night stuff it's fun because you can tell.
Yeah.
But then there's stuff with the Air Force pilots where you're focused on the one other pilot, and then you're also focused on Tom Hardy's character, and it happens in broad daylight. They're in the same spot, just over water with nothing around them, and it just keeps going back and forth. And you have to keep thinking like, oh wait, this stuff with Tom Hardy is happening later than the stuff with that guy, and that's where it gets a little frustrating.
And that's where I kind of get into my I like Christopher Nolan, but one of the things that bothers me is he really likes to jump around in his movies a lot.
Yeah,
I see it in a lot of his other movies, even like Dark Knight Rises. He does it everywhere. I mean, it obviously works well in Memento because in the context of that movie, it's important.
Yeah, that's the point of the movie.
But every time it happens, I'm just like, you don't need to do this in every movie.
It wasn't handled too well in this one. That's what kind of makes it kind of frustrating.
Yeah.
It's not. It could have been done. It didn't even need to be done. Really, I feel like.
I felt like it wasn't necessary for the most part. Maybe with a couple of scenes you can have it cut between somewhere, but it was done throughout the entire
like
film.
Stuff like seeing the pilot land, crash in the water, and then cutting back to that later on in the movie, actually seeing him land from his point of view. That's okay, but other stuff, it just didn't really need it.
Yeah,
really. But you get to the positives, with the action sequences in this movie are insane.
They're great. It's really just realistic.
It's intense as hell.
Yeah. And speaking of intense, just some of the scenes where, one of my favorite scenes is when they're in the bottom of this boat that's on that's on the beach, and there are German soldiers outside doing target practice on this boat. Mm-hmm. But they don't know that these soldiers are inside of there, and it's just a really tense scene. Yeah,
that's probably the most tense scene in there. But then there's other scenes that are claustrophobic, like the torpedo scene.
Yeah.
Basically, that scene is just so claustrophobic, them being stuck underwater inside this boat and trying to get out. This movie is relentless.
Yeah.
And that works in its favor. There's some things going in this movie that people worry about. There's it's a PG-13 war movie. You can't have that. No, you can. And it works fine.
And it worked fine. There were really no points in the movie where I'm like, God, this would be so much better if it was R.
Yeah.
Because
the movie's intense already as it is. Yeah. You don't need gore to make it great. And then also, it's an hour and 45 minutes. Christian Nolan movies are over 2 hours. There's something wrong here? No, it makes sense. Yeah. Because it's not a giant story. Mm-hmm. It's just you're watching this battle, basically, for an hour and 45 minutes. So it makes sense.
Yeah. Honestly, and I was telling him this before we started the video, it felt longer than that to me. The movie felt more like a 2 hour plus movie than anything to me. But
that's not really a negative about it.
It's not really because it was moving slowly or anything.
It's just because so much happens in this movie. So many sequences in the film. And the best thing about Christopher Nolan is that when you're seeing this an establishing shot of a beach with hundreds of soldiers standing on there, that's all people. It's all real. It's not just CGI doubles or anything. Because he loves to just do everything real and in camera. And I love that. On a technical level, it's phenomenal.
Yeah. I love all that stuff. I love the sequences of the ship tipping over and all the soldiers jumping out, and it's frightening.
Yeah, and if you can see this movie in IMAX.
Yeah, definitely. The sound is
insane.
Is crazy.
It's loud as hell. There's a few times I just jumped from gunshots and stuff like that. It's intense. Also, sound-wise, the score by Hans Zimmer is phenomenal. It just adds an extra layer to the intensity from the actual just music to just the ticking clock that plays throughout the movie. It's just incredible.
Yep. Some of the best dogfight scenes I've seen in a movie ever. Which is why I say I didn't dislike the movie. I liked a lot of the movie. It's just there are issues I had bringing it down.
Yeah, I can look past most of the issues. Some of them not so much. Like I said, the stuff with the family on the boat and everything, I can really look past too much. But there's other stuff that I can look past just because I feel this movie is meant to be more of an experience. Yeah. And, I'm not trying to just be oh, let's just go in, eat popcorn, and enjoy. It's not a summer popcorn movie. I mean it as it's meant to just be you're watching this intense battle for an hour and 45 minutes, and you want to see how these people get out of it. So yeah, I think if you go into it with your expectations in check, knowing what it is, I think you'll like it at least more than you would initially going into it. Yeah. Thinking oh, this is a war movie, it's Christopher Nolan, it's going to be a giant epic, Saving Private Ryan type of story and movie. It's not that kind of movie.
No, not at all.
And that, for the most part, works in its favor. Some of that stuff does take it down. Again, lack of character development and the unnecessary time jump.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it works in its favor to make it a really fun, visceral experience. Not really fun, intense.
I would not call this movie
I didn't mean it like that.
fun at all.
No, this is not a fun movie.
I would say I don't ever plan on watching this movie again. Both because it's not really a movie that I'm ever going to be in the mood to sit through again. Not because it's poorly made, just because it's like it's not a happy.
Yeah. It's not the movie.
It's grueling.
Yeah.
If I would say, if there's any word that would describe it well, it's that.
Yeah.
Also, I just didn't really connect to any of the characters, so there's not really a ton of emotional connection for me there.
It's not the kind of movie I'm jumping out of my seat to see again, but I'm willing to, and I know I'm planning to soon just because I want to take my brother and my dad to see it in the IMAX before it leaves like IMAX. So I know I'm planning to see it again, but it's not the kind of movie where I'm just like, dude, I gotta go see Dunkirk again. It's amazing. It's not that kind of movie. So out of 10...
Out of 10, it's a really weird one for me. There are things I really like about it and things that I absolutely strongly disliked about it. But if I had to give it a rating, I'd say 6.
I'm going to go 8.5 out of 10. Because I did like this movie quite a bit. It does definitely leave an impression on you. I mean, not character-wise. Because I know you're about to be like, what? Not like that wise, but like just the visceral experience of just grueling, like being stuck in this war with these people. It just leaves an impact on you. And it's a very different kind of war movie. Not exactly what you'd expect going in, and not what you typically expect from Nolan, basically. Yeah. But definitely, I recommend it. I know you were kind of like, maybe. But I definitely recommend it. I think it's definitely worth experiencing. And one of the most like unique films, just in the way it's shot and the way the action scenes are. Unique films to come out this summer, definitely.
Yeah, that I can agree to.
There you go. We agree on something. Yay. So that's Dunkirk.
Interesting enough film.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think for the most part people can get a lot of enjoyment out of it.
Oh yeah.
I think I might be a little nitpicky, but
yeah. As long as you go in knowing what to expect, then I think you should be totally fine with it.
It's not a bad movie by any means.
No. So I know we've been kind of late on our Twin Peaks videos.
Yes, we're actually 2 behind right now.
But we're gonna be working on those soon. We just were really busy last week. I didn't really have time to watch them.
Yeah.
So we're trying to do that, get those out for you guys this week.
We certainly will.
Yeah.
And until then,
yep,
we will see you guys next time.